happening? This is Joshua Buatsi, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Right, with Joshua Buatsi just beasting Tony Avalon this past weekend in Newcastle, where he demolished him very, very early doors in the first round. The same guy that took Anthony Yarde 7 rounds to beat. But it's very, very evident now that Joshua Buatsi is of a certain level where he needs to test himself. He said this on plenty of occasions in himself. So I asked you guys a question, which was, now Joshua Buatsi is easing through European level fighters and he's only 8-0, who domestically would you like him to face next? Now, again, Tony Avalon, European level in the fact that he fought Anthony Yarde for the WBO European title. So that's a European level, right? Now, I don't like fighters to go through fighting journeyman, and then world title. I don't like that. I like to see fighters go through the progression at a correct rate. So here in the UK, southern area, a few journeymen, and then move on to British level, then European level, then world level. That's kind of how it is that I like to see. Much like what Lawrence Okoli has done. And with Joshua Buatsi, he also, as far as I can tell, wants that kind of route. And he considers himself a British level fighter right now, potentially more. And he would, if he was to be honest, he would probably consider himself the best British light heavyweight right now. So that's why I come up with the domestic one. Now, the results are as follows, and I did this less than 24 hours ago, so thank you for everybody. So nearly 2,000 votes on this one, and I know not everybody sees the community polls. But Hosea Burton got 12%, Anthony Yarde 74%, Frank Buglioni 10%, the Jake Ball versus Craig Spider Richards winner got 2%, and Ricky Summers got 2%. So Anthony Yarde, a clear winner on this one. This is the fight that if we could choose for Joshua Buatsi, it would be Anthony Yarde. But at the same time, we're all realistic because we know that Frank Warren does not want to risk Anthony Yarde. I don't necessarily know that it's Anthony Yarde himself that doesn't want to fight Buatsi or Hosea Burton or Frank Buglioni or anybody. I don't necessarily know it's him. Maybe it's his trainer. Potentially. I mean, Ajunde, he doesn't really seem too keen on Anthony Yarde taking on the domestic guys. And at this kind of level with Anthony Yarde right now, where he's only 16-0, he is still a novice, of course, but right now is where he should be looking at the British level. Well, actually, about 3 or 4 fights ago, he should really be looking at it, because the level of opposition that he's been taking on, he's annihilating. So quite clearly, he's above these journeymen by quite some stretch. And his next fight, which is also on the Frank Warren show, of course, will be in the Brentwood Centre in Brentwood, Essex, on October 20th, this weekend, where he's going to be headlining against Walter Gabriel Sequeira. I've never heard of him, but he's got 4 losses on his record. So again, this is another one where we go, really? Come on now. It's getting to the point where he's going to end up having a Deontay Wilder kind of record, where it's just pure padded. And we don't want that. I believe in Anthony Yarde. I think he's a quality fighter, and there's so much more of him, but he needs to be tested. And again, I know people say, but he's learning right now because he didn't have too much of an amateur career. But again, like I already said, unless you are pretty much forced out of the amateurs, then once you turn pro, it's your own fault, right? So if Frank Warren paid Anthony Yarde, much like he did with Daniel Dubois, to leave the amateurs, because, I don't know, maybe Frank Warren was afraid he was going to lose one of these fighters to maybe Eddie Hearn or another promoter if he didn't act now, maybe. But if you're buying these amateurs to turn pro before they're ready, because as an amateur, that's where you're going to do your learning. Now, if you look at, say, Dylan White, for example, okay, he only had 5 amateur fights, and the reason that he turned pro is because he had no choice but to turn pro, because of his previous experience as a kickboxer, and the British Boxing Board of Control and what have you weren't too happy about him fighting as an amateur because he was a professional kickboxer. So rather than go through the whole marigma of arguing with them, he said, you know what, fine, I'll just turn pro. So Dylan White is learning as he's going through. Anthony Yarde doesn't have that excuse. Daniel Dubois doesn't have this excuse. So if you're going to turn pro, then we as boxing fans expect more. And this opponent that he's going up against It's terrible. I don't want to be rude, but it's terrible. It really is terrible. So I don't foresee Anthony Yarde fighting anybody domestically for quite some time. I really don't. And already he's ranked very, very highly in the world rankings for the WBO. Why? Because again, Frank Warren has a good relationship with the WBO. Therefore, his fighters get ranked very highly with the WBO. What's the point in him holding this position, though? What's the point? He doesn't want to fight Callum Johnson. He doesn't want to fight Hosea Burton. He doesn't want to fight Joshua Buatsi. He doesn't want to fight anybody like that. Well, I say he doesn't. For me, Frank Warren doesn't. Maybe he doesn't believe in Anthony Yarde. I don't know. But Buatsi is doing the right thing, and it's just my opinion. Oh, by the way, this weekend, boxing on the Anthony Yarde card. Some pretty decent fighters on there as well. Bradley Skeet's going to be on there. Lucian Reed, Nathan Gorman, Boy Jones Jr., Umar Sadiq, and Gary Corcoran against Johnny Carton, which is a pretty good fight in itself. So that card's pretty good. But back onto Buatsi. Buatsi has shown that he is way, way, way above the kind of level at this stage than maybe he should be. But he does have a good amateur experience. So, again, it is what it is. So, originally, Buatsi, he was supposed to take on Ricky Summers. This was 2 fights ago. Ricky Summers couldn't make that fight. I think he fell ill or something, I don't know. So, at that point, Buatsi is already looking to step up. Hosea Burton seems to be the favourite, which I do like that fight, by the way, and I rate Hosea Burton very, very highly. For me, he was beating Frank Buglioni until he got clipped in round number 11, and then, of course, got finished off in round number 12. So, again, yeah, I mean, I like that fight, Hosea Burton against Buatsi. But I don't agree with Frank Warren where he says that Anthony Yarde should fight the winner of a Hosea Burton and Buatsi, or a Buglioni, and things like that. Why? Why do these guys have to do all the work and Yarde don't? Yarde is a quality fighter, but he's just not proven it. I don't know why they're not trying to make a push on the British title, the Commonwealth, things like that. What are they afraid of? So anyway, I mean, you guys, 74% of you out of nearly 2,000 votes said that you would prefer Anthony Yarde, but unfortunately, 74% going to be pretty disappointed that that's not going to be the domestic fight for Buatsi next. I'm pretty sure of it. I think it's going to be Hosea Burton, which I'm very happy with, by the way. But it does seem that all these guys are willing to fight each other. Jake Ball versus Craig Richards. Again, very good fight. These guys are willing to fight each other. Frank Buglioni, he's been in there with Hosea Burton. He's been in there with Callum Johnson. Ricky Summers was willing to fight Buatsi until he got sick. It only really seems to be Anthony Yarde that's not stepping up right now. And it's a real shame. It really is a shame. So anyway, that is the poll results. 74% of you want Anthony Yarde. As I said, it ain't going to happen anytime soon. But let's look forward to Hosea Burton and Joshua Buatsi. If these guys can, of course, agree on a deal, these guys are going to want a fair chunk of money. I don't think they're going to price themselves out or anything, but maybe a headline event at York Hall. Why not? I mean, it's a decent enough fight. But likewise, I mean, I'm more than happy for Buatsi to fight any of these guys. Ball versus Richards. Excellent fight. Very, very good fight, which happens on the October 27th card. Along with Ted Cheeseman and Byfield. Along with John Ryder. And so again, you know, very, very good fight. And I'll be quite happy if Buatsi was to fight the winner. And I'm saying Buatsi because I feel like he's ready now. It's very, very early on in his career, and normally I wouldn't say anything until they go past the 10-fight kind of range. Where I'm saying to fighters, maybe you should start looking at domestic now. You know, fight these kind of guys at the British level, the Commonwealth level. Try and grab one of those titles, ideally both, much like Callum Johnson did, much like Frank Buglioni did, much like Hosea Burton tried to do, and has already been British champion. So, yeah, I think Buatsi's ready. He's not on 10 fights yet, but I think he's ready right now. And he is a quality fighter. And him fighting Hosea Burton is a real pick-em fight for me. It really is. And if they make that, I'll be very, very happy. And if Frank Warren does not release Anthony Yarde to face the winner, he's going to be pulled up hard, because quite clearly he's not confident in Anthony Yarde. And even if Anthony Yarde was to lose, it's no big deal at this stage. What I don't want to see Anthony Yarde do is fight the kind of level that he's going to be fighting this weekend, as he has been doing throughout his entire career so far. Get a world title shot, even though he was offered against Arthur Beterbiev and he said no, but get a world title shot at some point and then get blasted because he didn't build up properly. I don't want to see that. So it's best for him to, if he's going to lose at some point, lose now and learn from it. And so by the time he gets to a world title shot, he's going to be ready. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop yours, click that thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.